Well, Greenland is just a frozen giant in the Arctic, and it is under threat. China has been circling, eyeing trade deals that could lock America out of Greenland, and the stakes could not be higher. They couldn't be. National security, critical resources, and our dominance in the Arctic. And the fact is that Russia, they are the dominant player in the Arctic right now, and the US must encroach on this. And if we do not act now, China will. President Trump must annex Greenland and secure America's future in Greenland. We must secure Greenland's strategic location. That makes it really a geopolitical prize. We must really blunt China's aggressive moves that threaten U.S. interests, and America must protect Greenland to safeguard not only our national security and our economy, but the national and the international economy, the world economy, world security. Greenland sits right now between North America and Europe. It's really a linchpin in the Arctic Circle. If you're looking at the Arctic Circle, you can see right here, Greenland has huge, huge land masses inside of the Arctic Circle here. They control key trade and shipping routes through the Northwest Passages, and they monitor submarine activity and potential ICBM threats that come from Russia. That's really the big thing. That is why we remember, during World War II, the U.S. secured the island of Greenland when Nazis occupied Denmark. Denmark could not secure the island. And to be honest with you, we should have just kept the island. We should not have given them back the island. They've been so ungrateful for the United States and the security blanket that the United States has provided to the world. The world has been very ungrateful for the military security, the security blanket that the United States has provided to the rest of the world. But in 1946, we offered Denmark $100 million in gold to buy it. Denmark said no. Like I said, we should have taken it. That's neither here nor there now. But there is still a military space base that remains vital for U.S. and NATO defense. And melting Arctic ice opens up northern sea routes, slashing shipping times between Asia and Europe. Coming through here, the Northwest Passages up here. It is very, very important, not only for national security, but international security right here. You can see, going through the Banks Islands, the Victoria Islands, the Baffin Islands, right by Greenland. These are major shipping routes now, major shipping routes. And Greenland's ports are prime real estate to make sure that these routes are secured, they're controlled, and they're not controlled by China. Because Greenland isn't just, you look on a map or a globe, you can see it's just a big thing of ice. But it's not just a big thing of ice. It's not. It is a fortress, because if we lose it, we lose control of the Arctic. And that's a deal breaker. It really is a deal breaker. And in March of 2025, Greenland's foreign minister signaled interest in a free trade agreement with China. Now, remember, Greenland is a territory of Denmark. Greenland has autonomy over their own trade, despite Denmark does have some oversight on certain things, but China dominates Greenland's export market right now. 90% of the export market comes from seafood right now. China is buying 90% of their seafood. And this isn't their first attempt either. Go back to 2018. China's state-owned enterprise tried to build an airport in Greenland. Eventually, it was blocked by Denmark after the U.S. put a lot of pressure on Denmark. But China has pushed to invest heavily in Greenland. They're going to build infrastructure there, going to saddle them with a lot of debt, and then you're in debt to China. Who wants to be in debt to China? That just sounds horrible to me, because then China's going to be able to use their soft power to exert on you. Because China has pushed to invest also in Greenland's rare earth minerals and the rare earth mines. Because we know China controls like 90% of the world's rare earth mineral processing facilities. There's like one mine in Greenland that could supply like 10 to 15% of all rare earth mineral supply in the world. Now, China has tried to invest a lot of money in there, and it has been slowed by regulations. But we must stop this. This is the Belt and Road Initiative playbook from China. They use this to invest in other countries, they saddle them with tons of debt, and then they're in debt to the Chinese government. Then you have to do what they tell you to do. And a trade deal would flood Greenland with Chinese cash for ports, mines, infrastructure. And like we said, it's not about trade, it's about control. China's debt-trap diplomacy buys loyalty, as what you saw in Asia, as what we've seen in Africa. Because China doesn't need Greenland's fish. Let's be honest. China does not need Greenland's fish. They want the island, and if they get it, they will own the Arctic's future. Because they consider themselves a near Arctic state at this point. You look at a map here. You can see, China is nowhere in here. It's Russia, the US, Canada, Denmark, Greenland, Norway, Sweden, Finland. That's who's in the Arctic. The big players are Russia, Denmark, Canada, and Alaska. And you could, or I should say the United States, but the United States has a naval base or a military base in Greenland, so obviously that's supposed to deter anything from happening, but ultimately, we can't have another. We already have two huge superpowers here. We can't have a third one. Well, we can't, especially with the Russia-China alliance. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because, and plus, outside of the Arctic, there's huge mineral wealth at stake here. Greenland's subsoil holds a massive deposit of uranium, graphite, and many other rare earth minerals. And like we said, the one mine in Greenland could supply roughly 10% of the global demand right now. These are minerals that power fighter jets, electric vehicles, microchips, missile defense systems. Any technological system, it requires, the computer I'm recording on right now, require rare earth minerals. The phone that I have sitting right next to me, rare earth minerals. And Beijing already controls 80% of the rare earth mineral processing and uses its geopolitical leverage against other countries. And a China-Greenland deal would lock these resources up, leaving the U.S. reliant on Beijing. Because Greenland's minerals are going to be the lifeblood of tech and defense going forward. And we cannot hand it over to China. We will be at China's mercy. We cannot. And back in 2019, Trump had a great vision. Trump proposed buying Greenland, recognizing that it has strategic value. His team upgraded the military, the naval base, or the space base in Greenland and pressured Denmark to block Chinese investment in the island. Now, under Biden, the U.S. engaged with Greenland has stalled. All engagement has really stalled. No trade initiatives, no diplomatic push to counter China's Beijing trade office. China's creeping into our front yard, or our backyard, however you want to consider it. They're creeping into our backyard. And they exploited how weak Biden was. They exploited how weak this guy was on his foreign policy. We saw what happened in Afghanistan. Very weak on foreign policy. And a Chinese foothold in Greenland would weaken NATO as Denmark will juggle with the economic and security pressures. Trump saw the threat and was mocked. Biden was asleep at the wheel. The guy was barely even alive the whole time. Let China outmaneuver us. And we need bold leadership that is going to step up and make sure we secure the island of Greenland, whether that's through military, whether, we have to secure the island in some way, shape, or form. It just has to happen. And I think the only way forward is through annexation. Annexing Greenland secures our military base, Arctic routes, NATO's northern flank, the Arctic Circle, rare earth minerals. And like we said, Greenland's rare earths would revive U.S. mining, would create jobs, not only in Greenland, but in the States as well, and free us from China's supply chain chokehold, which, granted, they still have the processing of them, which is going to be tough to get around. But I think it's still something we can. It'll ensure access to minerals for F-35s, drones, missiles to counter China, Russia, Iran. And annexation aligns with a strong defense, economic independence, and standing up to the CCP. I'm not here as just someone who wants to take over Greenland for no reason. There is very strategic importance to this. It should have never stayed in Denmark's hand after World War II. It should have never stayed in their hands. They lost it. They deserve to lose it. And the U.S. must act now. We must offer Greenland a massive trade deal, seafood access, mining investment, a compact of free association, a free trade agreement. Open a U.S. trade office in Nunavut. We must rival China at this point. Expand our military capabilities in Greenland with radar and cyber defenses. Patrol the Arctic waters with allies. We need to have a North American bloc of countries. We need to create an alliance. The U.S., Canada, I'd even be fine bringing Denmark into it too. But ultimately, we need to have a security pact with our neighbors. We need to make sure that these routes, especially Canada, and I think that's why it's so important that Trump discusses this with now the new Prime Minister, Mark Carney. This must be discussed. Partner with Canada, partner with Norway to block China's Silk Road. It's like, we have to. Because Biden's weakness opened up the door, and Trump must slam the door shut on this, and we must annex Greenland immediately. Secure our future, secure the world's future, secure America's future, and slow China's, really their ever-expanding grip on power throughout the world. That's what we have to do. But time is running out. In Greenland, is going to be ours to lose if we do not act very quickly and very decisively and take it back and make America unstoppable. And I say take it back because it was ours back in the 40s. We should have never let it go. Should have never let that happen. But that is going to wrap things up for today, folks. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think that the U.S. should annex Greenland? Let me know down below. And as always, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you never miss another video from us again in the future. And we will catch you next time.